the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live. Downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort Casino is the spot. Big show lined up today over the next 3 hours. In 30 minutes, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian with fantasy drafting advice. He'll give you a handful of players that he is not touching at their current average draft position. And the team that'll have the most improved offense in the NFL this year, Adam Burke from VSiN. Best bets, futures in football with him in an hour. Paul Stone's going to preview the Big Ten and the ACC, Paulie, with best bets on win totals and outright winners coming up in 90 minutes. He'll be on for 2 full segments. And in about 45 minutes, we will pay tribute to a true American legend. Can you believe this? Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan in like a couple of days?
No. Stunning. Yeah. The surprise was that Ozzy lasted that long to go to 76.
Right.
But to be one of the Black Sabbath, one of the biggest bands ever, and instrumental in heavy metal. And then you lose. I mean, everyone knows growing up in the 80s, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. I had the
Hulkamaniacs.
Hulkamaniacs running wild. You can remember the interviews. Let me tell you something, brother. But you had the vitamins that they actually were going out there. Mm-hmm. The Hulk Hogan vitamins. You had the cartoons that they aired as well. And then you were watching every week on USA and every Saturday morning with your dad. And then the toys that they had, too.
For
the
sure.
toys
The
were
dolls,
huge. I mean,
yeah.
this guy, how big this guy was, it was enormous what he was doing. And then to be in the Rocky movie, and it was, I would rank them this way. And I like your tweet earlier today. When you're talking mid-'80s, I'm taking biggest celebrities in the world. I think it's Michael Jackson and Hulk Hogan.
I'm telling you, here's the thing. You take a picture. Here's what my buddy and I used to always talk about. You take a picture of these guys and you travel and you go to like India, right? Or you go to somewhere in Africa or you go somewhere across the world and you show them a picture. Are they going to recognize that person? That's how we would try to put it like into context and then have that discussion. Hogan's going to be recognized as much as any of these other guys for the most part. I mean, he was, to me, he's, okay, so Michael Jackson, he's a juggernaut. But Prince and Madonna, he's probably bigger than them back in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah. I think you got to compare him to like Schwarzenegger and how big he was. Jack Nicholson, 70s and 80s probably.
Bigger.
Was he bigger than Mike Tyson?
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah, Tyson was later on.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Eddie Murphy in this?
Well, he was
Saturday Night
a machine.
Live and Beverly Hills Cop and his movies. Eddie Murphy was also big.
I'm not fooling around. We're talking Bird Magic territory, bigger than that.
Probably.
Universally speaking.
Yeah. Headlined the first WrestleMania in 1985. Gets 1 million pay-per-view buys. Goes on the Rocky movie. And then WrestleMania 3, 80,000 people at the Pontiac Silverdome when he takes on Andre the Giant. And this had to be Saturday night's main event.
The main event,
Remember, it would like once a month, no Saturday Night Live. It was wrestling. So the rematch, months later, 33 million people watched on NBC.
Think about that for a second.
That's unbelievable, that number. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
Oh, wrestling was, I mean, come on, Paul. Back in the 80s and then the early, and then when he flipped to the NWO, Kevin Nash with a tweet today, NWO for life and beyond.
One of our favorite interviews ever.
Kevin Nash.
Unbelievable. Believe it or not. Kevin Nash.
Incredible interview.
I think we talked to him for an hour.
Yeah, he was so good. But then when he made that heel turn, I mean, come on.
Yes.
That's the best turn ever.
Yeah.
So.
Because it's like people are getting sick of the product. How long can he do this? And then he completely becomes, not only goes to the competition, but he becomes the bad guy, and then he's wearing the black and the NWO and all that. That was incredible what he was doing. And then the comeback, and they beat the WWF in ratings 83 weeks in a row. Unprecedented.
That's
what
wild.
happened there. So what these guys to do, where it was just the entertainment value and what they were doing with WrestleMania, and he headlined 7 of the first 8 WrestleManias. And what he was like, and everyone would, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and all that stuff, and everyone was buying it, what he was selling.
Yeah, we'll ask you, as a sports betting network, right, because my social media feeds today, it was nothing but Hulkamania. That was it. I mean, people were talking about it. I mean, that's how big the guy was, 71 years old, passed away earlier today. We'll ask you, what do you do to get away? What do you do to relax? What do you find entertaining to break away and just like step aside from sports betting when you want to do something else, or when you just need a breather, when you need a minute to clear your head? Like, what do you do overall? And I think if you're like our age, you absolutely just grew up with wrestling and you couldn't get enough of it. And, this was the guy at the forefront. He was, people's hero, Spanky, who's putting together Bet Bash, right? Been betting, that's all he does. Pro better. Tweeted out earlier today, RIP to my hero. How many people felt the same way?
Yeah. These are talented guys, too. To go through that schedule, that grueling schedule, night in, night out, and he had back issues and the health at the end. What they were, no days off and the travel and come out there and break your back to entertain the fans. And then they were doing, you see it with The Rock and Cena and Hogan. They are talented guys. And to go up there and that's...
Nick Foley.
To make mistakes, and even Ric Flair and all that, and to be that entertaining. I'm talking about interviews and what you're doing with the trash talk, right? Let me tell you, Mean Gene, right? And then just go off for 5 minutes straight.
That's right.
Whether it was ad-libbed or whatever. It was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the Stone Cold and the Rock stuff on the mic back in the early 2000s, that's as good as I've ever seen in my entire life. But Hulkamania, I mean, that doesn't happen if Hulk Hogan never exists, right? Hogan set the path for all these guys. So
yes, right. You didn't think you could become this popular and this big? Right. What he was doing.
Yeah,
and what right. But he was doing. It starts when you beat the Iron Sheik, and then and to Andre the Giant stuff. I mean, who would think that was possible?
I know.
We're going to fill a football stadium to watch wrestling, and then we'll do the rematch, and 33 million people will watch it.
And he's going to slam. I watched that replay today 10 times, like most of you did probably as well, when he slammed the Giant all those years ago. I thought we were also going to get some crap, not that bad, but crappy news in the NFL today. Like this happens every single year. Right away, the tweets came in. Justin Fields, trainers came out, 11 on 11. And so he limped off to the sideline. After that, tweets were going out that he had to get carted off because he was limping so bad. Checked by a trainer, wasn't great at the time. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Let's look at the depth chart here. The quarterback room for the Jets. Tyrod Taylor, Adrian Martinez, Brady Cook. Going to be a long year. I mean, even if this guy plays, expectations can't be too high for the Jets, obviously. But it has since been, they looked at him, obviously. They evaluated. He's been listed as day-to-day. But, Paul, brace yourselves, right? This happens, and it sucks. Like,
No, don't say that.
What?
I don't want to be gloomy Gus with that.
I'm not going to be gloomy, Gus. It happens every single year like clockwork, and I hate it.
I don't think this one's big, though.
No, it's not.
I thought maybe Achilles, once you or ACL when you heard the first report. But then again, I can't believe he got 2 years, $40 million, and
neither can
low
I.
expectations with the Jets. I don't think there's big a downgrade to Tyrod Taylor, anyways. My thinking was not just if something happened to Fields, but is that it for Tannehill? Is someone ever going to sign that guy if there's a big injury, and will he come out of retirement? But
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, they got the good news on him, and it's just a dislocated toe.
I'll give you this. Tyrod Taylor played 11 games for the Giants back in 2023. Without looking, guess how long ago he was the Bills quarterback?
Won a playoff game.
They made the play. They lost to the Jags 10-3.
Oh, they lost that game. Okay, thank you.
Guess how long ago that was? That doesn't feel like it's too long ago, but then you start to do the math. Josh Allen came out.
7 years?
2017.
Oh, God.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
He's been, and I've always had the back of Tyrod Taylor. I think he's been absolutely serviceable in different spots.
Yeah.
But look, I bet the Giants win total under 5.5 a while back because their schedule is so impossible this year. And they named Russell Wilson the starting quarterback today. More on that in a minute. But I think their win total is 5.5. The Jets win total is 6.5. Are we sure the Jets are better than the Giants? I get it. Their division is easier and their schedule is easier than the Giants. But do we think with Justin Fields at quarterback, even if he's healthy and he plays 50, they're going to be better than the Giants?
He can't throw the ball.
No, he can't. They hide him.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't. It could be ugly with the Jets. It could be ugly with the Browns. I don't know what it's going to look like with Tennessee and Ward. It could be bad in Indianapolis.
There's a lot
of teams like that as well. And I can throw another one in here too. and we'll get to this coming up with Paul Charchi. That was an interesting interview that Tua had about, this is not just going to forgive and forget with Tyreek Hill after you say that on the way out the door when the season ends.
Yep. By the way, earlier today, the quarterback to take the first snap for the Giants at DraftKings before he was named the quarterback, Wilson, was minus 750. I'm not going to be as high on Malik Neighbors this year with Russell Wilson as a starter, although it was obvious to me that he was going to be the guy. Like if Jameis was named the starter and we knew that he was going to play like 10, 12 games, I'd be betting Malik Neighbors to be Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, that's surprising. He had a rapport with Pickens. Some deep shot. The one thing he does well is throw the ball down the sideline.
Yeah, it's not enough for me.
Got that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, look what Winston did with Judy last year.
Yeah.
And then the quarterback in New Orleans, Shuck, is minus 250. I looked for Colts numbers today. I couldn't find anything.
That's outrageous. He's having a bad camp. He's minus 250?
Yeah.
Wow. That's too high.
Hayner earlier today was 25-1. Didn't Kellen Moore announce today that Hayner's going to get like the first string reps?
Well, maybe he's just hard on himself, whatever. There was a quote where he goes, right now I suck. I mean, he said that.
Yeah.
I've been terrible.
Yep.
We're a week away from a game. Chargers, Lions, Hall of Fame game. Get our NFL betting guide, and our college guide comes out August 5th. The offer for $175 through the Super Bowl expires a week from today. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, DraftKings, and Circa. Don't wait now. Again, expires July 31st. The analytics, the tools, the pro systems, the dog videos, live on-demand shows, vsin.com/subscribe. $175 through the Super Bowl. Get it now, brother.
The strikeout model at vsin.com really likes one pitcher tonight. Find out who it is next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
A lot to get into here with the first guest on today's program, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian joins the show now, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Charch, good afternoon. Thanks for the time as always, buddy. How are you?
Well, I'm great because it's kind of like football season now. Fantasy leagues are starting to get activated. People are starting to plan their leagues, change rules, figure out their draft day, all that stuff. So it's kind of fantasy season, which obviously we adore.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with, do you want to do like a negative look at fantasy to begin here? Guys who are...
Yeah, let's get out of the way.
Okay, yeah, you are currently like not touching with where they're like landing with their current ADP. Go ahead, take it away.
Yep, and by ADP, we're talking average draft position.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon, ADP 58. That is too high for me. And I feel kind of bad about lighting up Joe Mixon on his birthday. Happy birthday, Joe Mixon, 29 years old. Hopefully not celebrating in Adrian Peterson fashion with the Arabian-themed party, including the camels. I think ultimately Adrian liked to have that birthday party back.
Yes, right. Yes.
Having that money
Ice
right
sculptures and other crap, yeah.
I can't remember all that. Yeah. Texans offensive line, awful last year. Might be worse this year. Last year, 30th in ESPN's run block win rate, 27th in Pro Football Focus's run block rating. Doesn't look better on paper this season. Also worrisome. Mixon just plain ran out of gas last year. Over the final 6 games, he drooped all the way down to 29th in rushing yards, 31st in yards per carry, 25th in avoided tackle rate. I don't like to see that on my aging veterans that they ran out of gas last year, because then you ask yourself, okay, if that was the final 6 games last year, is that going to be the final half of the season this year? 2,100 career touches for Joe Mixon. That's a ton as well. The team signed Nick Chubb, which raises an eyebrow, and I think Chubb's going to be a thorn in his side. And Mixon right now has got an ankle injury, which hopefully won't be a factor going into the season. Maybe not. But, I just roll that together, and at pick number 58, I can get a lot more sure things, and I'd rather drink a glass of Fire Ants than take Joe Mixon at pick 58.
All right. Strong.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent, my friend. We talked about this earlier, briefly before you came on. There was interesting comments from Tua about, Hill said, I want out after the final game against the Jets.
Yeah.
And so interesting what you want to do with Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, by the way, all kinds of drop problems last year, and obviously an aged player. So 31 years old. for Tyreek Hill. And, you and I talked about this, both of us, we talked a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Things can go wrong in Miami a lot of ways. Tua gets hurt. Devon Achane gets hurt. Offensive line was bad last year, could be just as bad this year, maybe even worse. They lost Terron Armstead. And just Hill's play fell off so hard. His average draft position is pick 21. So you're going to have to take him at that stage. We're talking middle end of the second round for a guy coming off a terrible season. To me, that is just too big of a risk. And if you look at last year and you go, oh, well, that was just because Tua was missing so much time. Okay, but Tua played 12 games with Tyreek Hill, and he finished as wide receiver 30 or worse in 5 of those games. It's just the inconsistency level was too high, the diminishing play, the price on Tyreek Hill, too high.
I remember last year I took him second overall. I still have a bad taste in my mouth over that one. This one's going to sting to hear because the guy is like a rock-solid Hall of Famer. Mike Evans has been in the NFL since 2014. Right? 836 catches. We all know that he's had more than 1,000 yards every single year, almost unheard of. And he scored double-digit touchdowns 6 times. But you don't want to touch him right now? Why is that?
Well, and I hate it too because Evans is great. Take nothing away from Mike Evans, who, by the way, he's the reason Johnny Manziel even got drafted in the NFL. Getting under those Johnny Manziel, bombs that were nowhere near him, and then Evans go pull those things in college. That was great. But anyway, the reason I'm nervous about Evans this year, one, I tend to like to get out 1 year too early than 1 year too late on older players. And you can see that as a theme with the players we're talking about here today. The passing game is going to struggle without their left tackle. Tristan Wirfs is awesome. Pro Football Focus's number 1 ranked pass blocking tackle. He's expected to start the season on the PUP list. So, that means he's going to miss that first third of the season. That could hurt this offense. Then there's this. Last year, Evans was awesome when Chris Godwin wasn't playing. After Chris Godwin wrecked his ankle, it was all Evans then. But when Godwin was healthy, then Evans just wasn't the same guy. He's wide receiver 21 in PPR leagues with Godwin. He was wide receiver 2 without Godwin. Now, Godwin's hurt right now, but I think either Godwin's going to be healthy enough for the beginning of the season, or rookie Emeka Egbuka, who I'm really high on, can just walk right into that slot job. And, Egbuka, first-round wide receiver, he's going to, if Godwin can't go, he's going to start there. Incredibly productive at Ohio State. He's NFL ready by many metrics. So I just worry where we're seeing Mike Evans go pick 37 in fantasy drafts. It might be just a little bit high for a guy that we have a ton of respect for, but maybe we get out a year early on Mike Evans.
You're almost talking me into betting Emeka to win Offensive Rookie of the Year here, Charge.
Look, if he starts week 1 and he's anywhere near what he could be, Egbuka's got a route to be Rookie of the Year. And get this. So Chris Godwin last year, running from the slot in this same offense. Granted, it was a Liam Cohen offense last year, so it'll be a little bit different here. But really, they're going to hold over most of the same concepts. Chris Godwin was averaging from the slot for the Bucs 9 targets a game. If those 9 targets a game or anything like it's going to go to Emeka Egbuka, well, forget it. Then Godwin on this ankle becomes much more of a non-factor, and Egbuka could just be your week 1 starter and just hold the job. And that's your pathway for him to be Rookie of the Year.
That's great.
Okay, this one makes sense. I'm surprised he's going this high. Kelsey had 90-plus yards in 2 games in the regular season last year and only scored 3 touchdowns.
We're out on Kelsey. And look, I know this is like hey, where was this last year? Because we saw the production go down last year, but he was still finished as tight end 5 for fantasy. But I think that's just the beginning of the slide here. I don't think he's nearly as safe as people want to believe. If you look ahead to this season, he's 35 years old. And for the first time in years, Patrick Mahomes has got a surplus of viable targets. Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rasheed minus his suspension. He's going to miss maybe 2 or 3 games. We don't know. And the way the NFL works, maybe that's not even this year. Who knows? They've got rookie Jalen Royals, who they're pretty excited about. And then Brashard Smith can catch out of the backfield. They haven't had that in a long time. So there's a very real chance that Kelsey's target volume, which has been so critical to his fantasy success, that all drops off pretty hard here if in this season. So, a reoccurring theme here is older players we're going to get out on when we think the cliff is coming for these guys.
No, it's a conversation that has to be had every single year before you get into your fantasy drafts. You just do. Paul Charchian, our guest, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer, he is on the Progressive Guest Line. So every time that you come on during the preseason, you want to give out a sleeper this year. Yeah. Who do you have for us today?
Jauan Jennings, the San Francisco wide receiver. I love him. I've got him 30 spots higher than his average draft position in my rankings. So that's like, we're saying take him 2-3 rounds ahead. Pretty much everybody believes the Niners offense is going to be a lot better this season. You get Christian McCaffrey, you get Trent Williams back. That alone will be a really big factor. Jennings looks like this team's go-to wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk looks months away from playing probably. That's certainly going to be a factor here. They cut bait on Deebo Samuel, traded him away, obviously. So he looks like this team's number one wideout. And he was sneaky great last year. Jauan Jennings, Pro Football Focus's wide receiver 18 in the league. He ranked 14th in yards per route run. And last year, as just kind of an irregular starter, in 10 games in which he had 6 or more targets, Jauan Jennings averaged 78 yards and half a touchdown per game. So when he saw 6 or more targets as an irregular starter, 78 yards, half a touchdown per game. To give you a sense of what level that puts you at, 78 yards and half a touchdown per game is CeeDee Lamb and Devontae Adams last year.
Wow. Okay. I like Pearsall as well, Jennings, for what it's worth. In about 45 seconds, can you tell everybody the most improved offense this year will be which squad?
Jacksonville. We don't ever have to see Mac Jones again, so there's that. But also, they get Liam Cohen, love him. Travis Hunter is going to be a total game changer on offense. Tank Bigsby could be this year's Liam Cohen's Bucky Irving from last year. Those two are stylistically very similar. This running game could get going. And then I really like this rookie they drafted. Bashal Tutin could also be just a freak athlete. He could be a big factor in this offense. You add all that together, newfound competency with the coaching staff. I like Jacksonville to make a big move offensively this year.
And awesome spot as always, my man. Thanks so much for the time. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Ton of fun. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
There you go. You can follow him on X. He is at Paul Charchian, and he joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. I don't think I would draft Travis Kelce this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
I mean,
no way. Look at those numbers. That's incredible.
Oh, I can't deny it.
Yeah. He played well in one of the 3 playoff games, too.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
And he always
shut down in the last 2.
He was always Mahomes' go-to guy in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Win-lose up next. We'll get your reaction to Hulk Hogan passing away today. We'll tie it into, as a sports betting network, what do you do to get away or to relax when you need a break from betting?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It's going to be great. Next half an hour here, professional sports bettor Paul Stone joins the program. We will get to his best bets for the Big Ten coming up in 15 minutes. We'll begin in the ACC. Of course, both these conferences have had their media days this week, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line to discuss both. Paul, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing well. I'll tell you, we're now inside 1 month from the start of the college football season. I believe in 30 days, we'll have week 0, Saturday, April 23rd. So it's bearing down on us, guys. Time to start cramming for your final.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's begin with the win total here in the ACC. Boy, how the mighty, so to speak, have fallen. Stanford used to be a perennial player, right? For a long time, you could bank on them to win 9-10 games. They're going to throw a wrench into the playoff plans for teams. They were always really, really good, had good quarterback play, dynamite defenses. Now the Pac-12 goes away. They join the ACC, which is absurd. Their win total, Paul, is 3.5. And you think it's too high?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Stanford, Mitch, has gone 3-9 the last 4 seasons. And unless Andrew Luck, their new general manager, has some eligibility left, I don't think they're going to win more than 3 games this year. It's just a tough situation. I've said in the new age of NIL and the transfer portal that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And part of that poor, unfortunately, is the lower echelon teams in some of these Power 4 conferences that just don't have the treasure chest and the financial support and so forth. But Stanford, they lose some of their top players. David Bailey, a great defensive end, goes to Texas Tech. and takes the money there. And then wide receiver Emmett Mosley, the fifth, who really came on strong at the end of his true freshman campaign this past season, off to greener pastures as well at the University of Texas. And then to add insult to injury, their head coach, Troy Taylor, he was let go in late March amid allegations of mistreating female staff members. So their interim coach this year will be Frank Reich. You look at Stanford's schedule, and I don't see a single surefire victory for the Cardinal. They were favored until yesterday, pretty much 1.5 point favorite at Hawaii in their season opener on August 23rd. But some money showed up on Hawaii yesterday. Hawaii now pretty much universally a 1 or a 1.5 point favorite over Stanford. So that's pretty much a toss up. The only other two games that Stanford could be favored are going to be home games against San Jose State and Cal. But those certainly are toss ups, not givens. Difficult to see 4 wins here. They might not even win 3. I like under 3.5 at -150. Found that price there at DraftKings.
It's too bad that the program there, the entire university, doesn't have that big of an endowment. It's only $37.6 billion as of August of last year. But I guess they probably care about other things outside of football there. So, all right, that's your first win total. You have another one here on Syracuse.
Yeah, you look at this Syracuse team last year behind a really explosive offense, obviously guided by quarterback Kyle McCord. That Syracuse team won 9 regular season games, added a 10th victory in the bowl game, won the Holiday Bowl over Washington State. McCord, he threw for 4,800 yards, almost 4,800 yards last season. He's off to the NFL. And then their top 3 receivers. I mean, these guys had some productivity last year. Their top 3 receivers last year, 235 catches, 2,896 yards, and 23 touchdowns. All those guys have departed as well. Their top running back, LaQuint Allen, ended his career with back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons, so really productive at the running back position. He's off to the NFL as well. 4 starting offensive linemen gone also. So a lot of attrition, a lot of new faces on that Stanford offense. Suffice it to say, this year's offense at Stanford won't be as good as last year. And then there's the schedule. Obviously, we really look closely at the schedule when we're looking at these regular season win totals. There are 5 road games last year were UNLV, NC State, Pittsburgh, Boston College, and Cal. So really manageable. They also played Miami at home at the end of the season, beat the Hurricanes, kept them out of the playoff, as you'll recall, and they avoided last year Clemson and SMU, the 2 teams from the ACC that made the playoff altogether. Let's look at this year's schedule. Unfortunately for the Orange, not so kind. Their schedule ranked 5th toughest in the nation by Phil Steele, which is really difficult to do for an ACC team. You look at their road games, nothing like last year. They are at Clemson, at SMU, at Georgia Tech, at Miami, Florida, and at Notre Dame. And if those 5 true road games are not enough, they open the season in Atlanta, a neutral game against Tennessee. Those are 6 games. They're going to be an underdog, might be a double-digit underdog in all 6. So I see those 6 games as losses. Even if they only lose 5, they've got home games against Duke, Pitt, and Boston College, where right now they would be pretty much a pick 'em. So those games could go either way. And even if they win 2 out of 3, if they lose all 6 of those games away from home, they're going to go under. Last year, too, this is something I expect to regress to the mean a little bit. The Orange were very fortunate in some regards last year. They won 5 games outright as the betting underdog. Those types of things tend to regress to the mean. They also won a lot of close football games. I like Syracuse to go under their regular season win total of 5.5, -160 available there at DraftKings.
Very good, sir. Excellent. Paul Stone, our guest on the Progressive Guest Line. Paul Stone Sports, the website, and also on X. ACC Big Ten previews today. ACC and Big Ten media previews this week, and media days as well. Okay, who wins it now? Phil Steele's got Clemson number 2 in his preseason rankings. This probably is going to disappear in a couple of weeks. Still +105, +110 to win the ACC. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I know it's not a real, exciting pick to take the favorite And it's not like the ACC is going to be easy pickings but I've actually got Clemson power rated number 6 in my power ratings. No other ACC teams in the top 10. So from a roster standpoint, I just see Clemson pretty much head and shoulders above the rest of the league. I mean, you start with their quarterback, Cade Klubnik, a 5-star recruit out of Austin Westlake High School. Kind of took a little while, a couple of seasons to come around, but about the middle of last year, it was almost like a switch flipped. I think in the last 4 or 5 games of the 2024 season, Cade Klubnik was as good as any college quarterback in America. So he's a big-time quarterback. They've got one of the nation's top receiving core. They've got an experienced veteran offensive line. The one thing they're going to have to find on offense is a running back. That starter could very well be true freshman Gideon Davidson. He's a guy who rushed for about 7,000 career yards in high school there in Virginia. He could be a starter at running back from day one. You look at their defense, it's got all-star talent at all 3 levels. You got defensive tackle Peter Woods, defensive end TJ Parker, linebacker Sammy Brown. All these guys going to be drafted on the first 2 days of the NFL draft. So big-time talent on defense. They'll have another outstanding stop unit. You look at their schedule. They avoid Miami, Florida this year. They get SMU there at Clemson in Death Valley. There are road trips to Georgia Tech and Louisville, which will not be easy trips, but they're favored a little bit more than 6 points or more in both of those at this point by my numbers. You know, outside of an injury to Klubnik, and he's proven himself to be durable to this point in his career, it's difficult for me to see a world without Clemson in the ACC championship game. So I think Clemson is extremely favorable at plus 105 to win the league at Circa. You know, if you're in a Circa state where they operate, get that plus money price when you can. And if you're not in a Circa state, when you travel out to Nevada to register for one of the Circa NFL contests or perhaps the new Westgate College contest that we're so excited about, when you're in town to sign up for one of those contests, get that plus 105 to win the Atlantic Coast Conference at Circa.
What would you make the number, by the way, on Clemson? Would you make them minus 125, minus 140? How high would you go with them to win the league?
I mean, I think they're about off the top of my head, I would think about minus 130. I think plus money is really favorable. I mean, they're you look for weaknesses when you're looking at these top teams. And Clemson, they got to find a running back, but they really don't have any weaknesses, and they have a lot of veterans, a lot of talent.
Hey, have you've been to Las Vegas in recent weeks? Did you sign up yet for the Westgate College contest? 7 picks a week, $500 entry fee?
I haven't. I certainly am. I've got to figure out whether I'm going to max out at 10 or maybe just have 8 or what my strategy is going to be there on my number of entries. And also I need to, decide what I'm going to do as far as the NFL contests, as far as, whether I'll enter those or not. I'll basically be making a contribution if I do, but it's hard to pass up the opportunity at how many ever $1 million it is on the line.
Well, you must be super stoked for this, right? Because everybody's been thirsty for a college. You've won them before here in Las Vegas, multiple contests. So they kind of went away for a handful of years. You got to be stoked.
I am. I'm glad Westgate's come to the forefront, and I just hope the sports betting community and contest players and maybe new contest players will answer the call and sign up multiple times. If you got the ability to do that, we need to support this contest. We need to, do a great job in year one and let it grow from there.
Big Ten next. Who's he picking to win the league? Penn State, the Buckeyes, the Ducks? We'll find out next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We continue talking college football. Professional sports bettor Paul Stone is a weekly guest with us every year during the football season. That'll continue in 2025. He gave out best bets in the ACC last segment. Now we pivot to the Big Ten as Paul is on the progressive guest line. We'll get your outright winner in a couple of minutes. Win totals first. Boy, if you would have told me that when Lincoln Riley took the job and left Oklahoma for USC, he could be in danger of losing his job at the end of the 2025 season, I would have said, take all my money. There's no chance it's going to happen. But then, of course, the league dissolved. They went to the Big Ten, and now here we are. Their win total is 8. What do you want to do with that, Paul?
I'll tell you, it used to be, Mitch, 10 or 15 years ago, Texas was kind of perennial, that program that tended to underachieve year after year, maybe Notre Dame to a slightly lesser extent. But USC and Lincoln Riley, it's kind of a dubious distinction, but they seem to be coming dangerously close to becoming that program that simply doesn't live up to their expectations. They do have a favorable schedule early on. They open with home games this year against Missouri State and Georgia Southern. Then they go to Purdue in week 3, and then they host Michigan State in week 4. So USC in pretty good position to come out of the gate at 4-0. But after that, guys, in their final 8 games, I think it's going to be very difficult for them to win half or 4 of those final 8 games. A tremendously difficult schedule. They've got road trips to Illinois, Notre Dame, Nebraska, and Oregon. All those certainly will be arduous. As of today, USC in all 4 of those road games I just mentioned projects to be the underdog. They have home games against Michigan and Iowa in the heart of their Big Ten schedule, and that's a schedule ranked as the 20th toughest in the nation by Phil Steele. So they play a pretty tough schedule there. Their quarterback, former UNLV quarterback Jaden Mayava, he took over late last season for Miller Moss, who has since transferred to Louisville. But Mayava, he's a guy who has, he has a penchant for a high percentage of turnover-worthy plays between UNLV and USC. Mayava has thrown a total of 16 interceptions in his career, a pretty high interception rate of over 3%. So he's got to take better care of the football. I don't have great confidence in Mayava as an upper-level Big Ten quarterback. And here's a little tidbit that I found that just extremely interesting. Starting with the 2022 Pac-12 title game, when we used to have the Pac-12, that title game against Utah, when USC is favored by 8.5 points or fewer, they are 2-9 straight up. Oh, not against the spread, but straight up. They are 2-9 in their last 11 games when favored by 8.5 points or fewer. Just an incredible stat there. It may only be applicable this season when they host Iowa on November 15th, but certainly one game could make the difference on a regular season win total. They got to win 9 games for us to lose this bet. 8 would be a push. I don't think they're winning either. I think they're winning 7 or fewer games. Minus 125 there at Circa. Very reasonable price. I like USC under 8 wins, minus 1.25 at Circa.
All right, very good. Good timing here. Mike Locksley was on the program yesterday. He made headlines at Big Ten Media Day when he said he lost the locker room. He's still the coach. How often does this happen? Hey, I lost the locker room last year. I'm still the coach. Their win total 4.5. What do you think of Maryland?
I know we're still in late July, Paulie, and it's certainly a time that hope indeed springs eternal for college football coaches and fans. But, man, it is difficult for me to find reasons for optimism when it comes to the 2025 Maryland Terrapins. Looking back, first of all, at last season, Maryland went 1-8 last year in Big Ten play, finished 17th out of 18 teams in that league. They were 4-8 overall. And folks, that Maryland team that won a single game in the Big Ten, they had 6 players drafted in this past April's NFL draft. Only 10 college teams had more players drafted last April than Maryland. Maryland had more draftees than Penn State in April, and they went 1-8 in the Big Ten. So I found that really
That's a great
interesting
nugget
there. And you look at this year's schedule, and man, it doesn't set up favorably. They don't draw Northwestern or Purdue. Those are the 2 teams that most will have projected to finish at the bottom of the league. So they don't get to play either of those teams, Northwestern or Purdue. They do open with home games against FAU, Northern Illinois, and FCS Towson. So they're probably going to get out to a 3-0 start. But after that nice little trifecta, man, there are just no sure victories at all. I mean, they figure to be an underdog, not only be an underdog in all nine of their Big Ten games, but they're going to be a double-digit underdog in at least 8 of those 9 Big Ten games. I have them right now in the regular season finale at Michigan State as only an 8.5-point underdog, but they could be a double-digit underdog in that game as well. So they could be a double-digit underdog in all 9 of their conference games after getting out to a 3-0 start. And this is interesting, to go over 4.5, whether a person agrees with me that they'll be a double-digit underdog in all their conference games or not. To get over 4.5, they're going to have to win some games as an underdog. Since early in the 2021 season, in the last 19 games, they've been cast as the underdog. They are 1-18 straight up. So they simply have not been winning any games outright when cast as the betting underdog. The one exception was this past season at home when they upset USC as a 7.5-point home underdog. But I just don't think this Maryland team, probably not winning 4 games, might win 3 or fewer. But I like Maryland under 4.5 regular season wins. Found it at minus 124 there at FanDuel.
Wow, that is such good information. Yeah. Paul Stone, our guest here, professional sports bettor. He is on the Progressive guest line. All right, then, outright winner here. Do you want to go with the Nittany Lions? Are you going to go with the Buckeyes, the Ducks? Are you going to make a case for somebody else? Who do you like there?
I'll tell you, first of all, you guys, as you guys have, I've been doing this for quite a while, so I understand. I'm fully aware of James Franklin's record in the big games. He has had trouble winning them. It's not been good. And while I certainly, believe that those performances and those showings have to be considered, my contention would be that in most of those years, their roster simply wasn't as good as Ohio State's, simply wasn't as good as Michigan's and some of the others. And I think this year they have the best roster, not only in the Big Ten, they are my number 1 power-rated team in the nation. Doesn't mean necessarily that I think they're going to win the national championship, but they've got a veteran team. I mean, you look at their roster. You start at the quarterback position. Drew Aller, a little bit of a polarizing figure, but this is a guy that started 29 games in his career there at Penn State. 53 career touchdowns against only 10 interceptions. Has an interception rate of just 1.19%. I don't know that I've ever heard of one over that period of time. That low. So he takes care of the football. Without question, he has to play better in big games. He has not been at his best against the best. That's going to have to change this year. I think it will to a degree. The running backs speak for themselves. The tandem of Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, those 2 guys in their first 3 years of college football, almost 5,800 yards combined rushing. Their wide receiver room got bolstered in the offseason. They had Syracuse's Trevor Pena, couple of other guys, got a offensive line that some publications believe to be the very best in the entire nation. And then you look at their defense. The defense never rests there in State College. In the last 4 seasons, Penn State's given up 18.2 points per game or fewer. So I'm going to split a unit, kind of buy an insurance policy on the back end of this recommendation. But I'm going to take a half a unit on Penn State at plus 240 to win the Big Ten, and that's available there at Circa and some other sports books. And then I'm going to take a half unit on them to simply make the Big Ten title game, and that's available at plus 120 at BetMGM. So split a unit, plus 240 to win the Big Ten, plus 120 to make the Big Ten championship game, half a unit both ways on Penn State in the Big Ten.
That was dynamite. Make sure you follow him on X. He is at Paul Stone Sports. Terrific 2 segments here, Paul. Thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate that.
Hey, you guys have a great week. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you, sir.
Back at you.
Well done. Want to know where the money's really going? Unlike other sources, our splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings, giving you insight on where the sharp action's landing. See the percentage of bets, first percentage of handle on every game across every major sport, helping you make smarter, more informed bets. Get VSiN's exclusive betting splits as little as $9.99 for your first month. VSiN.com/subscribe.
That was strong, man.
He's got a great one on the Mountain West. Unbelievable.
Very good. Yeah. Yep. And Paul will come on with us again this year on a weekly basis, not only through the summertime to preview conferences, but also best bets throughout the entire year as well. Up next, we're going to open up the tip jar here. Mitch and Paulie's Pizzeria. Long shot bets you, the audience, have made that would pay off quite handsomely next on VSiN.